hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay. All right, so I'm going to start off with a verse that's really helped me in this season of my life, and it's James 1:2-5, and it says, "Consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing." And I'm just going to pray for us real quick before I get started. So, dear God, thank you so much for this group, Lord. Thank you for this opportunity, God. We know you're here. Thank you for Hannah. Thank you for the story that she had the courage to get up here and share what you're doing for her, Lord, because you're just that good. And God, I pray for every heart that's in this room right now, Lord. They're not here by coincidence, God. There's a purpose that they're in that seat, Lord, and I just pray that they will just open up their hearts and their minds to what is being told to them tonight, God. I just pray for peace of mind for me and just to speak through me, Lord. Use me, God. Help me be a vessel for you. I'm so thankful for what you're doing in my life, God, and I'm so thankful for everyone in this room. God, help me let my mess be my message, Lord, and I'm so thankful, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so I don't know if y'all all know my name, but my name's Lakeland, and I am a sophomore, like he said. And I'm not an athlete, so last year I was invited to FCA, and I was kind of weird about coming because I was like, I'm not an athlete, that's going to be really weird. They're going to be like, why is she here? So, you know, the enemy, there he is already. And so I eventually came because of an invitation, and it's because of FCA that I'm able to stand in front of y'all and tell my story. So I'm going to tell y'all a little about me growing up. My family was involved in church. I grew up in a Christian household. We weren't the family that went every single Sunday, but we were there like 80, 90, 95% of the time. My parents made sure that faith was important. Like it was an important fact of our family. Like we believed in God, we loved God. And so today's actually my birthday, and on this day, 8 years ago, I was baptized.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. But it's this day, 8 years ago, that I was baptized. But when I was baptized, I thought I loved God and that I believed in Him, so I got baptized. But I never understood a relationship with the Lord, which is crazy. So that was in 2010, 8 years ago. And so from that point, I just thought Christians were supposed to do the right thing. You're supposed to go to church. You're supposed to do the right thing, go to church, read the Bible sometimes if you could, and just make good choices. I thought that's what a Christian was. And so in middle school was the first time I'd ever seen the image of Christ in a person. For me, in my story, it's all about like people. God puts people in my life to like help me see Him and like grow closer to Him. So we had this friend, and her name was Riley, and I've never seen the Lord in a person. You know, I was in middle school, and so like this girl had. I don't know if y'all know anybody that doesn't have happiness; they have joy, and like there's a huge difference. And like she had joy, and everyone liked her. No one had a bad thing to say about her. Her family loved the Lord, like they knew what it was like to have a relationship with the Lord, and like she just had this heart that everyone wanted to be a part of. It was like you always wanted to be around her because she was so happy all the time. You didn't know why, and I was like, that's the first time I ever really kind of got curious. And so at that point, I didn't have an identity in the Lord, and so y'all know identity. That's my main story. We all struggle with identity and like where to put it, and so I put it in that friendship. And all of my friends, we got really close to Riley. My whole middle school, we went to youth. Y'all, I went to every day now. I went to every Fuge. I went to every Wednesday night, and never once did I hear that I was supposed to have a relationship with God. Not once. And that's because I was not spiritually there. I don't know if y'all have experienced, but like, if you're like me, I was always in church, but I was physically there, but my heart was never there. I was never there to hear what God had to say to me. No, I was just there because that's what I was supposed to do, and that's what my friends did. And so, because of Riley, I was really plugged into church, and all my friends, we loved her, and I put my full identity in her because like that was my feel good. Like that's where I got my presence of God in my life, was by being her friend. I felt like that's where my love came from. I didn't realize it was the love of Jesus in her that made me feel that way. I thought it was her. And so 8th grade year, summer before 9th grade, you know, high school's about to start. That's when everyone thinks life's really going to get good. Our friends, she calls us, and her dad got a job 4 hours away. And so here we go. I'm in 8th grade, and my identity gets ripped out of my hands like that. And if you've ever had your identity in anything, it could be a sport, it could be a friendship, it could be a relationship with a guy or a girl, it could be your parents, school, anything, and you put everything into it and it gets taken from you, you really feel like you have nothing. And so that's what happened. And at the time, I didn't realize I had this choice. And I had this choice to choose the world or to choose Jesus, but I wasn't close with the Lord, so I didn't realize that, so I chose the world. So so Riley moved, and 4 years I'm spent in high school chasing my identity in literally anything. If you can name it, I probably tried it. And so I put my identity in friends, I put my identity in my family, in school, grades, sports, literally like attention, acceptance. Like it's on the list, I've tried it. And every single time I fell short. And every single time it never satisfied me. And it's frustrating whenever you give something to something and then it doesn't satisfy you, you get so exhausted. And so I continued to place my identity in all the wrong things. I came to Jones freshman year, and in the first month at Jones, my freshman year, I met another person who had the same personality as Riley. And I didn't realize it then, but like looking back now, I know a lot of y'all know Hudson, but I met a guy and at Jones, and he had the same characteristics of this girl. He loved the Lord. He had a love, like, he loved Jesus like someone I hadn't seen before, and he had, like, real joy and not happiness, and he cared about people, and people were drawn to him, and I couldn't figure it out. But this time I was like, I want to know what this is, you know? Like, I lost Riley, my identity was gone. I've tried everything else in the world. Nothing satisfied me. I'm always broken. I'm always broken. I'm always broken. So I got close to Hudson. We started dating, actually this day last year, and so I started my relationship with him, and he invites me to FCA. And so eventually I came, and it was because of Scott last semester. I don't really remember like what sermon it was, but it was actually the fall semester. And he said something about a relationship with Jesus. And I was so curious at this point to know why this guy had this love and like the world didn't tear him down and he had this joy. I was so curious. I was like, this time I'm figuring it out. And so came to FCA, started getting plugged in, and I wanted to figure this out. So my curiosity basically led me to Christ. And so I went to FCA Getaway, and I went to Passion. I started having this new desire. But the problem was I still kept control for myself. I don't know if y'all are like me, but I don't like to give control to something I can't see. And so we can't see God. We know He's there. We believe in Him, but we can't see Him. So faith is really hard for me. And so I'm kind of, I would say, strong-willed and a little stubborn too. And so I like to control things because it's safer. Like I feel safer if I can control the situation. And so like I was like, God, I'm going to try this out, but I kept about 30-20% for myself. I was like, I can't give it all to something I can't see. I'm not there. And so I got in the Word. I had this new desire. I thought, you know, the desires of my heart were going to change. I was going to be this better person. Everybody says, you know, have a relationship with Jesus, and the desires, you're going to be a new person. You're going to be made new. And so I tried that. And so all semester, I never fully surrendered to Jesus, but I was still a little bit different. And that whole semester, I put like 80% of my identity in God this time, but still kept 20 for myself. And so the whole semester was pretty good, but like I got to May last year, and I was still feeling broken. I was still not satisfied, and I was like, God, I thought I tried everything else, and I tried you. Why am I still feeling like this? Why am I still not satisfied? Why am I still not fulfilled? I wanted to be so, like, y'all know y'all want to be fulfilled. And so I was like, why do I not feel this way? So and it's so embarrassing, but I gave up on God. After everything He did for me in that 6-month span, I gave up. And basically, I didn't realize it. Like looking back now, I can see this because all this is so new to me. But I put all of my identity in that relationship with that guy, with Hudson. And so I took the identity that I had put in Jesus, and like that was good, and I put it in a relationship. And so all summer, I had control of my own life. I stopped reading the Bible. I stopped praying. I stopped going to church for the most part, and I just ignored God for like 100% ignored Him. I didn't care what He had to say because his way didn't work in my eyes. And so I go through the summer, and I remember like sitting in my bed and seeing my Bible on the floor at home and like looking at it and feeling convicted because I had the Lord in my heart, but I was like, no. Like I literally told God no. I said, I don't care to read that. And like that's so hard for me to tell y'all, but it's so embarrassing, but I'm so thankful because I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for that. But anyways, all summer, place my identity in a relationship. And if you've ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend, y'all know that's so easy to do because you get so involved with them that like you want to give everything to them. Like when you love someone, like you want to give them everything you have. So I took everything I put in Jesus, put it in a relationship, and then in August comes, and like if you put your identity in something, guys, I'm here, like I'm living proof that it's going to break eventually. It might not be how you think, but like you're gonna get disappointed, you're gonna get let down, and that's what happened to me my whole entire life. I was constantly let down, constantly let down. So August gets here, and he goes to Starkville, and I live here, and it got hard. Things were getting difficult because I was in my control. And so if y'all have ever played a sport, like an example would be like, say you work so hard at your position, and all of a sudden you work so hard and you're going to be the starting position, and then this transfer comes in and they take your spot like that. Like, it's like you start panicking. Like, what do I do? What do I do? I worked so hard for this. And so, like, I put everything into this relationship, and then, like God showed me that it's about to be over, and I panicked. And so I took all my control and I tried to fix it, but it wasn't meant to be fixed. And so the Lord removed my identity once again. And he had to do that for me to be here today, for me to realize that my identity is not found in a person, it's not found in a circumstance, it's found in him. And so when Riley moved, I had the choice, God or the world. I chose the world for 4.5 years. And then whenever me and Hudson broke up, I had a choice again. And so this time I was like, Lord, I put everything into what I thought was my everything. And he stepped in, he said, Lakeland, he said, give me everything because I am everything. And I was like, that makes so much sense. And so I never surrendered my life to Jesus. Y'all, I've been a Christian for 8 years, and I never surrendered my life to God, which is crazy. It's like crazy. How can that even happen? Like how can that happen to Christians? But I didn't get it. I never heard it. And so when me and Hudson broke up, I was on the way home, and I heard God in my head saying, like, what are you doing? I was like, God, I don't know. And so I gave 100% surrender to the Lord on the way home one day, and y'all, I can't explain the life change that comes from that. And whenever this relationship was ending, God, this is really weird, but God gives me pictures sometimes that helps things make sense, because like Scripture can be really confusing, and like God's ways can be really confusing. So He simplifies it kind of. And I'm from Summerall, and I don't know about y'all, but when I was in middle school, we read four-wheelers. Kind of weird, but we did. And so He gave me this picture, and I'll share it with y'all. Just about control, and it was like a picture of like me on a four-wheeler, and I don't know why I used a four-wheeler, but he did. And so I was on a four-wheeler, and y'all have ever read four-wheelers and you get a huge mud hole, and like you're trying so hard to press the gas to get out, and nothing's happening. The wheels are spinning, mud's everywhere, it's smoking, like it's pure mess, like, and you're trying so hard out of your own control to fix it, but you're stuck, you're not moving. It's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. The more you press, the more you press. And so that was my life. And that's when God showed me, Lakeland, take your finger off the gas. Like, it's my turn now. And so I did. And He showed me that He pushed me out of that and that He delivered me from this. And I've never had joy. I've never had pure joy. I've never in my life experienced it. And I always wanted it. And I was always confused. I was always confused why I couldn't get it. And it's because I never surrendered my heart. And it takes 100% surrender to Jesus to, experience all that He has for us. Last semester, I experienced good things. My life was changing a little bit. But, I wasn't different. And I wanted my desires of my heart to be different. I wanted to please the Lord. And so I gave full control to the Lord. And and then, once that happened, He reminded me, I thought He was going to be so, He's going to hate me almost, just because the enemy does that to us. And so I was scared. I was scared to, know that God accepted me. I was scared to believe that. But y'all, He is the most welcoming person in this whole world. He loves us no matter what. No matter if you're 10,000 miles away or a step away from Him, He is welcoming you, and He wants you. And so, what's crazy to me is that I was a Christian for 8 years, but I never knew my Father. And, He knows us already. He knows everything about you. He knows what your tendencies are. He knows your heart. He knows your thoughts. He knows your temptations. But we don't, some of us don't know Him, and that was me. I didn't know my Creator, and, how can that be? He saved my life, and I never got to know Him. And so He's really, really, unpoured that for me and unraveled that for me. And I'm starting to get to know Him. I'm not perfect by any means, and I'm not going to sit here and tell y'all that this is easy, because, I wish I could. I wish I could tell you that you're going to choose Jesus, and then everything in life is going to be so easy, but it's not. And Scott told me this week. He said, life's hard with Christ or without Christ. But when life's hard with Christ, you know He's going to deliver you from the hard times. It's this new perspective. And He allows you to have this different perspective that says, yeah, today's bad, but God, you're going to deliver me from it in the morning. And tomorrow is going to be better. And so that's basically my story. And there's a few things I want to tell y'all that He's shown me through this. And I want to let you know, whatever you're facing right now, you think that it's so big that God can't handle it. He can. And for me, I struggled with not feeling enough for the Lord. I was like, Lord, I really, really messed up. I gave up on you. I literally told you no. And He welcomed me, so I know He'll welcome you. And then let's see. Okay, so the greatest thing, I want to tell y'all this. The greatest things we ever do involve tremendous risk. So, like, that's huge. Like, this is so scary. Like, I just want to kind of help you with the relationship with the Lord because I've never had it. But when I was finding out how to have a relationship, it's really, really awkward at first because Scott said several times, like, FCAs ago, like it's like talking to him and it's like talking to a friend. Like, it's just like having a friend. And I never got that. And so, like, I started practicing, like, and it was so weird at first, but it really gets better, I promise. Because, like, you just feel kind of awkward, like, God, hey, but, like, it gets better, and just continue to talk to him because I promise he hears you, and I promise he already knows what you're going to say, which is crazy. But something I want to say is the circumstances can either change how you view God, or how you view God can change your circumstances. And it's all about perspective. Like, if you would just change your perspective about your situation, then it will change the situation in you. And so, faith is putting God between you and your circumstance, and it changes your perspective. Choose to believe even when you cannot see. You do have a choice. That's the cool thing, is he gives us this free will. And he's not looking for who has it all together, because that definitely wasn't me. I definitely don't have it all together, and I still don't. But the Lord, like, he still gives me hope. He gives me joy. But he just wants the ones who will say yes to him. Like, you know, like, I could have done all the right things. I went to Fuge. I went to D Now. I had a Christian family. I tried to make good choices in high school, not the best. But, like, that doesn't change anything unless you're ready to say yes to him, if that makes any sense. But I do challenge y'all right now, like, if you're in a place where your wheels are spinning, and if you are in a place where your finger's on the gas pedal, to just step back for a minute and say, like, you know, is this really what I want to have my identity in? Because I promise you, I don't want to, like, ruin the news for you, but if your identity's not in Jesus, like it's not going to, I'm not going to say bad things are coming, but, like, you're going to get let down. Because that's life. And when we're in our flesh, we're sinful. And when we're sinful, we get let down because it's not from the Lord and it's not holy. So I want to read that verse again that I started with. And it's, consider it a great joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you experience various trials, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. So when I say lacking nothing, for me, this means I can have everything and lack everything. Or I can have one thing and lack nothing. And that's basically my story. I had everything, but I lacked everything. And then when I have this one thing, I know I lack nothing. And just an experience from College Getaway, just to share with y'all. They put you in these groups, and the guy that led my group, he this was January last year?
Mm-hmm. Or this year.
But last year, was it January?
Yes, like last year.
Okay, like when we went, were we in January?
It was in January.
Okay, so January last year, I was in that group, and I was just figuring out this key relationship thing. And the guy leading my group, he said, if you are left standing with just Jesus, you and Jesus, your family's gone, your friends are gone, your boyfriend, your girlfriend's gone, your dogs are gone, your food's gone, everything is gone except for you and the Lord. Will that be enough? And guys, I can sit here and tell you, when I was sitting in that room, it wasn't. Like, I was like, that convicted me, because no, it wasn't enough. Like, I was like, how in the world can I let go of everything else and let Jesus be enough? But, like, you have to let him be enough, because he created everything else you love. And, like, you have to love the one who created it to be able to love the stuff he created. And so just love the creator, not the creation. And that's something I really am working on. And another thing, too, if anyone's struggling with identity, if you're having any questions about what I said, or, like, the relationship with God thing, because I'm still trying to figure it out, and I love to hear what people say about it, because I like to learn. I'm really curious, and so I love to learn. But other than that, that's it. I'm going to close this in prayer.
Awesome.
All right. So, dear God, thank you so much for the people in this room, Lord. I pray for their hearts, Lord. I pray that they feel like they're in the deepest valley right now, God, that you see them, Lord. Let them know that you see them. Let them feel your arms around them, Lord. And, like, if they feel like they have no hope, if they feel like they have to act like they have it all together, but deep down, inside their heart, they know they're struggling, God, I pray that you'll just reach out to them with an open hand, Lord. Help them to grasp your hand and to know that you are so good and you provide things we can't even explain, God. I wish I could explain everything you've done for me to the people in this room, Lord, but there's not words. My heart is changed, God, and I pray that for someone in this room. If they don't know Jesus, and if they do and they don't have a relationship with him, to start today, to get to know the one that knows them so, so well. And I'm so thankful that God used me to get up here and to talk, because this is so, God, thank you for the courage you've given me, and I thank you for who you are in my life. And I just pray for each one in this room, God, to just be with them, comfort them, Lord, provide for them, restore them. Lord, you can do all things. You are all, and you are in all, God. Just help them see that. I love you so much, and I'm so thankful for what you're doing in my heart and the people in this room, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.